In this video today, President-elect Trump just nominated Kash Patel to be the FBI director.
He has been on all sides of the FBI. He's also been a target of the FBI.
And of course, CNN is not taking this well. They're already melting down over this nomination.
It's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI and also for the nation.
And we show you exactly why they are so scared of Kash Patel.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state.
President-elect Donald Trump has just nominated Kash Patel for director of the FBI. Trump made the announcement on Truth Social just moments ago. During Trump's first term, Patel served as the chief of staff at the Department of Defense. So, Charlie, not too long ago, Donald Trump said that Kash's new book, talking about how he's going to completely eradicate the deep state and also firings at the top ranks of the FBI would sort of be the blueprint for what he would want to do in his new administration. I mean, the deep state needs cleaning. The Department of Justice and the FBI also need some firings and some reform as well. So what do you think he'd be able to accomplish as FBI director?
Yeah, well, obviously, Kash Patel has a unique observation and history with the FBI. He has been on all sides of the FBI. He, working for Devin Nunes in Congress, of course, had oversight of the FBI and made life difficult for them. But that was, of course, before he realized just how corrupt the FBI is. He's also been a target of the FBI, and the reason he was a target of the FBI is because he pressured the release of information exposing that the FBI had illegally spied on President Trump's campaign and during his presidency.
Yeah, well, it's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI and also for the nation that depends on a highly functioning, professional, independent Federal Bureau of Investigation. The fact that Kash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job is not even like a matter for debate. So I think what we should really be thinking about right now is what does this signal in terms of Donald Trump's intent for the FBI? The installation, or the nomination, I guess we should say at this point, of Kash Patel as FBI director can only possibly be a plan to disrupt, to dismantle, to distract the FBI, and to possibly use it as a tool for the president's political agenda.
The fact that this is even a seat that we're talking about shows how much Trump is planning on putting his people in. And now this gets to Patel. There's no one less. I mean, there's a lot of people less qualified to run the FBI. There is no one the only reason why Trump would have done this pick is for his retribution campaign. There is almost no other reason to explain this. And I know that we have to say, in terms of reporting, well, we'll see what others say, or we'll see what the Republicans do. But everyone who has followed this president-elect and who he wants to put in knows that this particular position and this particular person is being chosen for what is essentially the retribution campaign.
As a former federal prosecutor and a public defender who defended a lot of these types of cases, what you need to show is whether or not the FBI and government agents were using undercover operatives and informants on the day of January 6th, because if you can show that, they've been out. Hang on. But the paperwork shows having run informants, that's a 6-month buildup minimum.
Right.
Minimum. It's not like they just dropped them into the Proud Boys and said, hey, go, don't disrupt, please. So once you prove that, then you defeat the insurrection narrative with the FBI's own documentation. Forget what the videotape shows.
Just for people who you can't see what's going on in the room, the reason why Kash just said hang on or whatever is because I started smirking and rolling my eyes. And what I meant to convey with that is, come on, we know they were involved.
No, look, I totally
clarify,
agree.
Though.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I know definitively. What I'm saying is a reasonable suspicion is that there were agents. There's a video showing a guy with an earpiece pulling people into the building. All right. Mm-hmm. You combine that with the evidence of Ray Epps, and it looks like you have a preponderance of evidence suggesting there may have been federal law enforcement involved in making that thing happen.
I'll get you beyond a reasonable doubt.
All
Two
right.
pieces of information. Ray Epps was on FBI's most wanted list one day, and the next day he was off of the FBI's most wanted list. There are only two ways that happens. You die, or your informant. Put that aside. Under congressional testimony, Jill Sanborn, who I used to work with, the head of the FBI Counterintelligence Division, in charge of all these investigations, testified under oath when Senator Cruz asked her, flat out, were there federal agents involved with January 6th? And she said, quote, Senator, I can't answer that at this time. Not if the answer was definitively no, having been a DOJ FBI guy myself, she would have gone there and said, nope, absolutely not. The reason she said I can't answer that is because of the same stonewalling they gave us during Russiagate with Christopher Steele, Halper, and everybody else. It's the same narrative, and I'm telling you they were there.
So you're saying that she said I can't answer that because the answer is yes, and that would compromise whatever their operation was.
Exactly.
The biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game. That's why you don't have a black book. Or the manifesto.
But the black book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should run on. On day one, roll out the black book.